Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for your time today. I can confirm that yesterday, a 20-year-old woman was issued a summons to face charges relating to a fatal collision on High Marsh Drive in May earlier this year. In that collision, a 20-year-old man was killed when his vehicle was struck head-on by the woman who was allegedly speeding and on the wrong side of the road. The woman will now face charges including manslaughter and culpable driving causing death. This has been a long-running investigation, and police are still seeking information about the driver of a third vehicle that may have been in the vicinity of the collision. Anyone with information in relation to the collision is urged to still contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. I will remind all that this incident has had a significant impact on many members of our community and continues to do so. I would ask that leading into the holiday season, all road users consider the safety of themselves and those around them. The destination is the important part this holiday season. We want everybody to get to their destination safely. I'm happy to take some questions if anybody has questions.
So it's understood the alleged female driver was pretty significantly injured and is still receiving treatment. How has it progressed that she's actually been able to be charged by this point?
This has been done in consultation with the DPP and also the defence representatives of the female, and it's been deemed that at this time it's appropriate for her to face those charges. Any matters relating to her health can be raised before the courts appropriately.
Is she likely to be able to take part in court proceedings?
I can't really answer that. That's a matter for the courts to decide. Obviously, our consultation has been that at least this is the appropriate time to put those charges before the court and for them to make a decision based on her long-term health outcomes.
Paint a bit of a picture for us. Tell us about why it's taken so long to get to this point in the investigation that's been undertaken over the last few months.
I can advise there's been no delays in the investigation, and I just remind people that every investigation is an individual set of circumstances. In this one, there's been some extenuating circumstances, being the condition of the alleged offender. Consultation has been ongoing with the victims' families, with the DPP, with the defence representatives, with health carers for the alleged offender, and now has been deemed the appropriate time. So there's been no delays, it's just the individual circumstances led to this being the appropriate time for charging.
What kind of condition is she in? And has she made a full recovery?
I can't give you that information. That information is for her and her carers to provide to the court. We've consulted with them and deemed it's an appropriate time for this matter to at least be put before the court for consultation on that.
Have police been able to, has she been fit enough to be interviewed at this point?
No, we haven't interviewed her at this point, no. We haven't been able to do that, based on her current condition.
Do you know where she is? I mean, is she in hospital, at home, or...?
I can't give you those details. I can tell you she still remains under fairly significant medical care and attention.
Tell us about this third driver. Have you had any luck in tracking him down?
This has been an ongoing part of our investigation. We have significant leads in related to that matter. We have seized the vehicle that we believe was the third vehicle involved. What we're after is still that last crucial piece of information, and we know someone out there, whether it's the driver who's had time to consider it now, and now this matter's going before the court. If they want to come and see us, we'd love to talk to them. Or if somebody knows who the driver of that vehicle was and can provide that to us, we'd ask them to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Are you seeking that person as a witness or as a person to charge?
Until we have an opportunity to talk to them, they remain both and neither. But giving them the opportunity to come forward and talk to us at least allows us to clear that part of the matter up.
When you say seized the vehicle, can you explain what happened?
So we identified the vehicle through our investigation fairly early in the piece, and within a couple of weeks that vehicle had been recovered. That vehicle underwent a police examination, and the investigation in relation to the actual driver continues on that.
So you got the vehicle, but I don't understand. You got the vehicle but not the driver.
The driver wasn't with the vehicle at the time. We seized a vehicle that was, we were looking for that vehicle, and one of our patrols did excellent work and found the vehicle, and we seized it.
Has he done a runner or something? I mean, what's going on?
It wasn't within a short time frame. It was in a couple of weeks, so you can imagine that there is a significant amount of the time that the person could have left a vehicle and moved away from it.
So the vehicle was dumped somewhere?
Yes, well that's probably a good explanation for us, Annie, yes.
What was the Matthew's family's reaction to when you let them know that you were able to proceed with charges?
Well, there's been considerable consultation with the McLuckies, obviously. You know, they're the victims, ongoing victims of this matter. I know that the DPP assigned prosecutor had some conversations with them prior to the charges being laid, going through the brief of evidence as it is. And then a member of the ACT Police Executive spoke to Mr McLuckie the day before the charges were actually, the summons was presented to the representatives of the defendant.
Had you and investigators been optimistic you'd be able to get to this point, given the speeds involved in that crash? It's a miracle that anybody survived.
From the collision we saw and the speeds involved, you're exactly right. It's a miracle that anyone's walked away from that. And that's a great reminder to everyone. There's no winners here. We're not saying, yay, this is a win point for us. This is still just a tragic situation for everybody. Everyone involved in this, including the defendant and her family. I'm sure the family members and friends of her didn't want her to be involved in this incident. You know, members of the community had to be involved, whether they be witnesses or, you know, the victims of the cars that were stolen and involved in this. There's so many, such wide-ranging impacts on everyone in the community on this. There's no winners.
So I suppose, judging from what you're talking about, the alleged perpetrator is unlikely to be able to reoffend. Why did you make the decision to charge her anyway?
Well, this matter needs to go before the court. Someone's died, and we allege that a significant crime has occurred. Significant offences have occurred leading up to it. It's not for police to decide whether that matter should be heard or not. That's what we have the courts for. This matter has been assessed by the DPP and suitable to move to this point, and some decisions best lay with the courts as independent assessors of fact to decide whether this matter should progress any further.
And just on, obviously this is still an ongoing investigation, but how significant is this point for the officers taking part in this investigation? How is everyone feeling now?
Well, it's a significant milestone in relation to any investigation, the laying of charges, but I can guarantee you none of the investigators are feeling relieved or like they've had a win. It's just a tragic circumstance all round. We'd much prefer not to have been involved in this at all. And, you know, it's not the only one this year. We've had 17 other 17 other people, you know, killed on our roads this year. There's no winners, there's no victory points, there's no people running, you know, jumping up and down happy about any of these matters. It's what we have to do. It's part of our job, but we'd much prefer not to be involved in it at all.
I guess on that matter, the number of fatalities we've seen on the road this year, we already are in the summer holiday period. You and your officers expecting to have a busy period, and what's your message to motorists to try and avoid further tragedies like the one involving Matthew McLuckie?
Well, I mean, the Matthew McLuckie one and each fatality that's occurred this year has been very unique circumstances to each incident. There's no general broad-reaching message that could change it all. It's got to be every road user has responsibility for their own safety and the safety of others, particularly over the holiday period where people might be a little frustrated with holiday traffic, say they're travelling down the coast. We just ask them to consider the destination. What are you trying to get to? What family engagement are you trying to get to? Get there safe. Get there, take an extra 10 minutes. No family member is going to care that you're 10 minutes late to Christmas lunch. They will care if you don't make it at all.
Can you tell me what the collective speed was between those two cars? If one was 177k an hour, what was the kind of, I don't know what you call it, the head-on speed?
Well, I guess if we take that the other vehicle was travelling at 80 kilometres an hour, you're having a collision there in excess of 250 kilometres an hour if you just took one vehicle into a brick wall, which is just absolutely a massive collision for two, you know, really large bodies of metal to be striking each other at those significant speeds is just devastating.
Well, presumably one or both of the vehicles were able to brake at some point. Is that something police have been able to determine in their investigation?
Well, as you can imagine, the vehicles were significantly damaged. So part of our investigation is the reconstruction, the physical, I guess, mathematical reconstruction of those collisions. That sort of detail will be presented to the courts, and I'll leave it for that time.